Hey, what's up, guys? DJ D-phlo here, coming at you with another DJ tip. On today's session, we're going to be talking about the auto cue, the cue button, what they are, how they work, and how to set your cues. Let's get into it. So this is probably a very obvious one for the guys that already know what the auto cue does and how to set your cues. So this video is mainly focused at the guys that don't know how to use the auto cue, what the auto cue is, how to enable it, and how to set your actual cues. So what is auto cue? How do we cue a song? And how does auto cue help you cue your song a bit quicker? As it sounds, auto cue means that it automatically cues your song. So what the deck will do is, if your auto cue is enabled, the deck will automatically look for the first beat in the song. A lot of the times you find that songs start very different. Some songs might have some dead air at the beginning of the song for a millisecond or a few seconds. It might not be obvious on the actual song, but when you are playing the song, sometimes you find that the beat does not come in immediately, and therefore the CD player will automatically jump to the actual beat and it will auto cue it from that beat. Obviously, if the song starts as a melody, it's going to start at the beginning of the melody. It's not always accurate, and obviously when you need to adjust it, I'll show you how you go about adjusting it. But firstly, how do you enable auto cue on your actual deck? As you can see on my screen here in red, there we go. The auto cue is enabled. How do I go about enabling it? On a Pioneer deck specifically, you find this little section here. Normally it's accompanied by the time, where you set your time either on remaining or ascending. That is up to you depending on how you play, but I normally set it on remaining. For you to set the time, you need to just click and let go. So meaning that you're just going to press and let go. As you can see, it changes back to the normal one, or press and let go and it changes back to remaining. For you to set the auto cue itself, you need to press and hold. As you can see, it just disappeared, and then you press and hold and it'll reappear again. So now that you know, that's how you set your auto cue. Granted that not all CD players are the same, and not all CD players have a touchscreen enabled facility, and therefore would mean that the auto cue button would be somewhere else on the deck. So other CD players, other Pioneer CD players would have a physical button that you would need to press, but it's the same process. You just press and hold, or press and release if you want to just change the time. So I mentioned that some songs start very different, and you'll find that some songs have some dead air before the first beat, and you might not actually notice it because the auto cue at that point had already done its job and has already actually searched the first beat and has moved the song to the first beat. And that's obviously if your auto cue has been enabled. However, in this case here, this song might look like it has no dead air. It does. And how you can see that on here, nice thing is that we have a visual representation of this, but because not all decks have this guide here, you're going to actually depend on your ear in that instance. But here, as you can see, this white line is where the song actually is supposed to start, or this is the little guide on the actual deck. This never moves, so this guide stays there all the time, and this just runs through. So this is where the beat is actually supposed to start, and it's set it to the first beat. However, if you can have a look closer here, there's a little blue line there. Those are milliseconds of dead air. And that makes a big difference when you're queuing, because it might not respond immediately. Meaning that you're going to first need to go through the dead air before you get to the beat. And obviously when you are queuing, you need the song to start from the first beat so that you can actually time it properly with your song that you're trying to mix into. Another way you can see if there's dead air on here, if you just jump onto the time where you set your cue, you can see here the time doesn't start at 00, it starts at 0.27, meaning that there is dead air of 0.27. So what happens if the auto cue has set the song or set the beat in the wrong place? It obviously then means that it takes a little bit more effort for you to adjust the song, and when you're playing it, to try and mix it. So you can adjust the cue to start exactly where you need it to start. Now, for example, I've made an example here. I've set the cue in the middle of the beats here. So if you hear this, I'm pressing the cue and it's starting right there. As you can see, that little orange thing that I was talking about, that's the cue indicator. So if it's set there and now you need to adjust it, at this point you can't adjust it by using the jog wheel because the song has been locked and queued onto there. You need to release it or unlock it from that particular place for it to actually be to move. I do need to clarify this is specifically on Pioneer, guys. I know on some other decks you are able to move the song without having to remove the auto cue, but in this case the auto cue will lock the song at a particular point and you will need to unlock it by either playing the song and pausing it or just by search here. For me, by search would be a very easy way. Just do that. As you can see, it unlocks the song. That little white line turned red, meaning that it's ready to move. I can then move that line. So me moving the song with the jog wheel, as you can see, I'm going to move the song to the first beat. Here we go. At the current moment, here's my cue here. But once I click cue, it goes right there. And there's that orange indicator to the first cue. There we go. And your cue is set. I hope this video was insightful. If it is, please don't forget to share, like, follow, subscribe so that I know I'm doing the right thing and these videos are reaching the right crowd. I will still be dropping a whole lot more videos on DJ tips. However, feel free to drop a comment on suggestions on what else you would like for me to cover. Thanks for watching. Peace.